Okay, my friends, I don't mean to shock you, but this should shock you. You see this river system? You ever see anything like that? Look at the damn thing. You ever see anything like that? Look at this, all this stuff going on. And then you back out of here a little bit and you see everything here is sort of light green, everything over there is sort of dark green. And here's this whole river system running right on that borderline. See, what the heck is going on? Why would this be? I mean, obviously something's different here than it is over there. And I understand what it is because I have been working on the mud fossils long enough to know. But this is, it just continues and continues and continues and continues. And it borders something quite unusual. Now, you see how it festers up out here? You got all that stuff going on. And then it comes around out here. And then you see what's coming out down here. What is this? Almost exactly the same thing, only very serious. Remember up here, it's not so bad. Down here, look at that. Wow. That is amazing. Look at how unbelievable that is. And then it goes right out here. And where does it go? It spits out like a tongue almost. And it goes right into the water here. Now, where are we? Well, we're right here in North America. And what we just did was we looked at this colored stuff, and then we looked at this colored stuff. And remember that line had all that little squiggly stuff, and then we saw something flow out into the ocean here. That's the feathered serpent. I'm sorry, that's exactly what it is. It's the feathered serpent. And here's his head right there. All right, there's his throat. And that's why all that squiggly looking stuff was coming down here. You see it? This is Little Rock. And if this was the feathered serpent, this is the face, the nose. This was all that little stuff right on the edge of his nose. I don't know why this is. You know, it needs a little research, but it follows the face. Now, what about the feather that sticks up the top of the head? Well, there it is. There it is. There's the feather. And that's only one of many. And I will show you the rest of them in a second. This body, that is just a head. It wraps around like this. They were dragon, serpent, whatever you want to call them. And it goes all the way up to Canada. Now, and you say, oh, come on, Roger. I said, well, I don't know. What do you think? Let's take a look at what it looks like. And if you see feathers, which I do, I see feathers running all around his body. All that. And see, you can see the outline of his body. And you can see, you know, like this, almost like he has a wing coming up here. And then there's all your feathers. You see them? If you look at them carefully, you'll see their feathers. And I have feathers here from a giant feathered creature that Greg Morrison got for me, right from this area. You see these feathers? Those are feathers. Not just hills. Those are literally feathers. And they go all the way up to Canada. And I'm going to tell you something. If you live up in the Seneca Falls area right up here, you see, look, see? These are feathers, see? And they run up, they still run up a ways up here. I think they sort of taper off, but I think this is still part of them. And this is, I believe, up here in Seneca. See Seneca Falls? You see this different color stuff running into this different colored stuff? And what are these things? Why are these things just right here like this? Somebody scratch them out of there or something? Why are they like that? Well, I can tell you why. What they're hearing up here, they call them the Seneca guns or something. They're dragon indigestion. Dragon farts. They hear brrr, Well, that's what the dragon farts. Now, they can look out over here and see yellow glowing balls rising from the water, and they'd say, "Whoa, what the hell is that?" And that would be the sulfurous gases. Now, I don't know if these things are still semi-alive or just dead and decomposing and doing the normal things their digestive systems would do. But they are digesting and running off just like they were still alive. Now, and everybody's seen, well, I showed you the last time, the dragon here in the desert. They're all over here. I mean, there's not like just one here and there. They're just everywhere. Here's the one in the desert and attacking a giant fish. We don't understand where we live. We have no clue about our history and no clue about our planet and no clue about geology. So, and these are the ones that are attacking me. The most violent attacks are from geologists and educated people. They do not like this because it points to the God and all this mysterious stuff in the past. And I still can maintain my faith even seeing this, because it all talks about giants and dragons and serpents and being misled and all that stuff. Exactly what's happening today. And 2 months ago, they just released that information from where was it? I guess it was Thailand or somewhere. Hold on a second. All right, this just opened up. In history, this has been here obviously forever, and they just opened this 2 months ago. And I believe the things are being disclosed now that they said would be disclosed towards the end of time, and I think it's getting damn close. And these, I don't know what the story is. This is in Bali, Indonesia. And I have a bunch of pictures from this, and there's all kinds of creatures here. There's not just that one. And these are the waterfalls. I believe this is a heart, and the heart is having the waterfalls, and all these snakes and things are around it. And what they are, if they had whether they were real or not, I have no idea. But boy, are they strange looking. And I looked at them, and I do think that some of them might have been alive at one time. You see this here? First of all, whenever you see the reddish color, that's, to me, is blood. And I see blood up in here where I would expect to see it. I see a little pattern to the eyeball, which I would expect to see. Over the course of time, erosion would not create what I'm seeing here, I don't think. Then I'm seeing this, this, and this, which, whenever you see patterns like that, it has some meaning. I don't know exactly what. Whether they didn't carve these here. These eroded here as a result of what might have been in the digestive system of this thing. I don't know. At this point, I have no idea. And these kind of crazy things like this, you'd say, oh, that's just ridiculous. That actually could be some form of a biological creature. Medusa was had the real ability to turn things into stone. These things that were written were not just silly tales to scare kids. You saw the dragon. You saw the feathered serpent. You see all these things, and they were all written about, and every culture had their stories, and they were all a little bit different. So I'm led to believe that there was a conflict among a half a dozen or a dozen different gods that wanted to control different territories, and then they ended up doing all this kind of stuff to, I don't know, to worship them or revere them or sanctify them, however you want to call it. They're doing something here, whether these are bodies or not. Now, Ovid, who was a writer that wrote Metamorphosis, we should read that. He says the gods did this just for fun. They turned things into creatures into statues just for fun. And here's another one that was, I'm telling you, it looks real to me. All right, this is the statue del Gigante, and that is the tendon running down his leg. That is the red blood of his leg. Up in here, you can see the actual muscle, and bone and so forth that was in his arm. It snapped off. they tried to fix this, and they put some metal pieces up in here. And people say, oh, you see metal up in there. They made it out of metal. No, they didn't. This was an actual tendon. I'll show you what tendons look like. If you can dismiss that tendon, well, then I don't know what to say to you. And if you can dismiss this red blood and the muscle behind the tendon, then I have no respect for your ability to think. It's just out of hand. You say, oh, that's nothing, that's nothing. And I'm sure that's it. That's what I'm going to hear. I hear it every day. It's exactly what you see at that colossus. That's the tendon, and the red muscle eroded. Okay, there's one last thing I'm going to say. At one point, Russia was a godless country. It was enforced by the government, no God. Well, I think I have shown enough evidence to support. We need to relook at that. And they do. They when communism went down, you know, that whole Cold War thing, the godless enforcement was removed, and they can do whatever they want, and has quite a resurgence of Christian faith over there, and they have some extremely interesting history over there. It's a lot different than the history in the United States. I have a history in the United States which is devoid of all of the things that these people know, and I think we should work together instead of against each other. We could have Mudfossil détente. All right, I'm serious. I really am serious. Let's look at rocks together. I do this all day long. And I haven't shot at anybody. Why do we have to have bombs and guns and all this business going on? Why can't we just be friends? It boggles my mind, absolutely boggles my mind, the effort. But I do understand, when you're afraid of somebody, your protection is number one. I mean, it's number one thing in your mind. I have to protect myself, obviously. So if you feel threatened, that's what you get into these situations. Who's threatening who? Why can't we somehow figure a way to be unthreatening and let people live their life? Because this life, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been doing a lot of research, and you could say anything you want, but I'm going to tell you, my research leads me to this one conclusion, that we have life after life after life, and if you don't progress, you're in trouble. You're going to go, you could fall down so far down that you just never get up again. And this particular life that we're in right now appears from a lot of the ancient stories that I've been hearing. This particular life that we are in right now is the emotional material realm, and we learn to be emotional, loving, material giving people in this realm, and if we don't learn that, we're done. I don't know how done you are. You know, when they talk about heaven and hell, I don't have any information about that, but there's just been a lot written. And I have no reason to discount anything that was written anymore. I want to know what I can determine in the material realm. And I would love to work with anyone that wants to only work with that stuff. I don't want to get into politics and hatred and this and that. It always ends that way. And already right now, in my relationships with friends and everything, after this thing with the Capitol building and all this, I think that's not the way to pursue this thing. Violence is never, ever, ever, ever the option. It leads to more violence and discord. Now, what did this guy, the activist over there in Russia, they try to kill him. Now, I don't go along with that either. But I don't know what their story is. I don't know what he's up to. I don't know if he's good or bad, or he's just apparently he's trying to fight corruption. I say, get control of the corruption, make everybody equal, and then just, it will work out. Nobody's going to rise up against anybody if everybody feels comfortable and equal. I think that's the only way to resolve all of these situations. I know they got a hell of a situation going on over there now with beating each other with riot clubs and everything else. I don't know. There's got to be a better way. Anyway, Mudfossil détente. All right, I just want to make one statement. I think I said I've maintained my faith through this. Well, let me just tell you something. I had no faith whatsoever until I discovered mud fossils. Now, once I discovered it, I realized this, I got to look into this. Once I realized the only person I found in history that was nonviolent was Jesus Christ. And he did all kinds of miraculous things, so I'm going with that. Now, here's the feathers out of the head, and I am maintaining it, even though I'm finding new things every single day that just absolutely are mind-blowing, absolutely stunning. However, they are real. What does that do to my faith? That I now have faith? It doesn't do anything to it. It enforces it. It says all of these serpents and giants and dragons and all that stuff, 100% real, what was written. The only thing is, I don't think anybody, not a single entity in history, has understood who God is. And I don't understand it, so don't point to me. Because all of this stuff came from somewhere. Now, there's violence, there's absolute unbelievable monsters and crazy things. How did God made that? There's a lot of thinking to do. But I still have to think that there's a God somewhere who is our God that sent his son and said, look, straighten these people out and just get the good ones and bring them back, screw the rest of them. And I think that's what's happening right now. And I think the rest of them are ready to go. And I hope we're all ready to go. But where you go, that's up to you, I think. Anyway, that's the feathered serpent. All this stuff was real. So I got to go with it. I got to go with what I'm seeing. Not with what I'm, just believe, just believe. No, I never believed anything unless I could prove it. And now I've proved all the things in the past were, in my mind at least, worthy of revisiting, because we've been told they're just nonsense. Nobody in the world, and you show me one person that would have ever expected this. Nobody. I didn't ever expect this. It just fell in my lap. It's not my fault. I'm telling you, and I feel like it is I'm putting people in positions where they're unhappy. I know. My wife told me she's been unhappy for 10 years since I've been doing this. What are you going to do? I can't, it's been very, very stressful. 10 years, extremely stressful. And you're going to find it, as soon as you start talking about this, every single person has told me the same thing. Everybody looks at them like they're crazy. They've lost friends. They've lost even their wife and family. Not a single person in my family has seen one single video I've done. I've done literally way over 1,000. 10 years. They don't like it. They don't want to know about it. They don't want to hear about it. And so I stay by myself. Because I'm not going to go and just pretend that, everything's fine. Let's listen to what's the new Jeopardy question tonight. No. I got other things to do. Reality, and trying to figure out what I'm going to do in this life to facilitate my next life. Because there's another one coming. No, I'll leave it at that. I love you, and I know God loves you. I know Jesus loves you. He's coming down here to get the good ones. I hope you're good. Oh, by the way, make sure you always look for that little thing coming out of their chin, you see?